Hey y'all. So today I want to talk about expectations and how it can actually give you stress and anxiety and a whole host of other negative emotions. So, expectation is a strong belief that something will happen either now or in the future. And in order for you to have an expectation, you have to be going off of your own mental model. So everyone has a mental model inside of their head, and this mental model has been um, like it grows as you live your life, and depending on how open or how close you are, it may grow very slowly or very fast. So if you have very strongly held beliefs, um, and you are, let's say, getting new information from the world, but you don't want to integrate anything new from the world, then those strongly held beliefs will be very, I don't really want to say rigid, but like it's not really changeable because you don't want to open yourself to other new information or other beliefs, because like that is a strongly held belief. That's why it's strong. Um, and that's not to say it's negative or positive. It just is what it is. That's what you will use to move throughout life, right? So the reason why you would have negative emotions because of expectations is because when you are faced with a situation, there are expectations that come out of that situation for you. So you will pretty much face that situation with the mental model that you have, and with that, you will have an expectation that it will happen a certain way. And if it doesn't happen a certain way, that means there's a mismatch in your mental model and what life is showing you in that moment. And when that happens, your brain will cause you to have these negative emotions to tell you that there's a conflict between what you have in your mental model and what you are currently facing right now. And you can either if you are open and you let go of those expectations, then you can see more of what you're experiencing, and then you can integrate each component of that situation that you see into your current mental model, and that's how your mental model would expand. And I'll tell you from my point of view how that has affected my life, and how getting rid of expectations like totally changed my life for the better. Um, so my life had been very, very challenging, right? And so with each of those challenges, I figured out how to overcome them. And so I kept on doing this throughout my life over and over and over again. And so I got really good at solving problems. And so when I started getting into a relationship with my wife, like way back then, um, I would have these expectations of her. And this lasted for like 24, yeah, roughly 24 years. I've been with her for 25. So i've been um I've been setting expectation for that long with her, and it did not go well at all because she does not take shit, and I love her for that. But you can see how that causes the problem. So I keep on setting expectations. She's like struggling with them, and she's like pushing back on me. So there's this constant struggle back and forth. And then last year, it got to a point where I'm still setting these expectations or pushing these expectations on her, right? And I was also doing that to my kids and then myself, and it just all of a sudden just it just didn't work. Like I got so far in life with how I was doing things and pushing forward with all the solutions that I created for all these problems. So I had these problems with my wife, my children, and then now at work, and all of those fronts weren't moving in the direction that I had hoped. And I was using the same skill sets and knowledge and experience that I had to push forward on all those fronts, but it just didn't quite work. And so finally I'm like, F it. Like, no more expectations for anyone or anything. And then that just opened up my mind. My relationship with my work, myself, my kids, and my wife just all of a sudden got so much better. And then so I started digging into the reasons why that would be. And then I realized, so, using my wife as an example, so if I do not set any expectations, that means I'm just letting her figure out how to do whatever it is that she's going to do, in this I guess you call it partnership, right? So we have things that we need to do, and both of us are very different people. We work at a different pace. We have different knowledge, different experience, different skill set. And so if I were to set and push an expectation on her, it comes from my own mind and my own perspective, based on my skills, my experience, my knowledge. And then I'm pushing this onto her, which is not her. If she was exactly like me, then it probably would work, but then she is not me. So if I'm pushing this expectation on her, then it's like forcing her to be someone who she is not. Another way of saying it is I'm rejecting her for who she is, because I don't know what her mental model is. I don't quite understand all her knowledge, her skills, and her experience. So I can't really tell her how she should do things, because I just don't have that mental model of hers. And so it's better for me to give her the space and allow her to see how she would, overcome, these challenges that we have in this partnership. So after I realized that, it just made our relationship so much better. She could breathe better. She doesn't feel that pressure anymore. And I don't have that negative feeling anymore every time she's doing something that I don't like, because it's like I'm just accepting, everything that she is, I'm just accepting her. And I did that with myself and my kids and my work, and it just all got so much better. And so what you have to understand with expectation is that, like I was saying with the example of my wife, if you're expecting something, then when something different happens, you're not going to accept it. You're going to reject it, right? That's what's giving you the negative emotions. And what happens to your brain when you're doing this is, in order for you to get the most or see the most out of reality or a given situation, you have to not be emotionally attached to anything. Because if you're emotionally attached, it kind of clouds your mind. It very narrows your mind into the specific things that you see in that moment. And when this happens, you're not able to see all the different components of the situation. And so you're going to see a very, very limited view. And when that happens, you're not going to be able to you're not gonna be able to, like, even if you are willing to adopt a new pattern or a new situation into your current mental model, when you have an expectation, you're not going to be able to see everything that you would have seen if you just open yourself up fully, because that's just how your mind and your body works. When you have a lot of emotions, you lose some of that focus from your other senses. So now you're splitting your senses from what you see, what you hear, and all of those things between these senses and your internal emotions. And so, like I said, you're not going to be able to get much out of that situation. So if you don't have any expectation, you will be able to see as much as you can see at that moment, given your skills and ability to perceive the situation. So try to get rid of expectations. Then you will, maybe not fully, but slowly be able to enjoy more of life and have less of those negative emotions, because you just have no expectations. You just are accepting everything that comes. And even if you don't believe whatever it is that you're experiencing, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to change your strong beliefs, but then just accepting it allows you to just be okay with it, right? Because what choice do you have? You either push against it and then have the negative feelings, or just be okay with everything that's that you're seeing, and just set it aside in your mind. You don't have to integrate it into your existing mental model. Just leave it there. It is what it is, right? Hope that was helpful. Leave me a comment if you have any questions or something that I explained was not quite clear.